Well, hello, my name's Dave Abel. I'm with the Computer Assembly Training School, and thank you very much for buying this web design video. First of all, welcome to the desktop on my computer at work. Now, the first thing we're going to do to start our HTML design is to open a folder on the desktop in which we are going to place all our files. So if you watch my little mouse on the screen, the cursor, to do this, right click of the mouse, the word new, and folder. We select folder. Now I realise it's not that easy for you to see this on the screen because we've actually got the camera plugged directly into the computer. So I'm sorry that you're not getting superb vision, but it's a lot better than photographing or trying to video the front of a monitor. So we give the folder a new title. So imagine this is going to be your website, and we're going to call the website example. Okay, so now we have got a folder on our desktop right there that we've just created called example, and of course there's nothing in it because we've just created it. Now we're not using a software package to develop a website. The reason for that is because we want to make certain it's going to be a professional site where all of the hyperlinks, emails and so on are moving from one page to another are going to open quickly and easily, what we call cleanly. Now how we are going to do this is by using an editor. So we're going to do all our web page design using an editor, and the one that I would recommend to you is from Front Page. So if you buy Front Page, or if you're fortunate enough to have it free with Windows, it's only the editor that we're wanting to use. So now I'm going to open up Front Page Editor, and there is our editor on the screen, nothing on it, a complete blank page. Now what I'm going to do is just type one word in the top of the screen, and that says Jaguar. Now we're going to make that into an HTML page. So first of all, I'm coming up to File, what we've done. So I go File, Save As. The page title is on here as Jaguar because that's the only word we've written, but we're going to call the actual page that people would see on the internet, we'll call it the one I love. Okay, now we're going to have to give the page a title, a file path, so that we can find it, or the web can find it. And we're going to call the file path, which is underneath the page title in this box, we're going to call that index. So that is the index page. Now let me just say one thing at this stage. All the pages that we are going to be creating in HTML, always type in lowercase the file path. So the home page, if you're having a website for your own personal use or for your business professional use, the home page, the page where people are going to log on to in the first place, that is the page that we are going to call the index. So in lowercase we type index.htm. Ignore the L, it's index.htm. Now we select as file in that box here, so we're saving it as file. Where are we going to save it? Now it's got a bin up here, we don't want to save it in the bin, we're going to save it in the new folder that we've just created on the desktop, which is down here, called example, and we're saving it as an HTML file. So now you can see here at the top, save in the folder example, it's called index and it's an HTML file, and we go save. That has now saved this page with just the one word Jaguar on it in that folder. Let me show it to you on the desktop so you can see it. There is the example, that's the folder that we created. Let me open that up, and within that folder we have got one page there, which is the index page, and if I double click on that, it will open that page, and you'll see up here is the word Jaguar. I'm going to close all that down because that was just showing you the page. Now I want to come back to Front Page Editor. I'm going to open the page that we've just made, so we browse for it, it's in the folder example, I open up the page index, and there we are. Now we are in the editor. So this is part of the Front Page software package, but we are not using Front Page to design the web page, the website. Right, so we're back where we started with the word Jaguar. Now let's highlight that word. So I am holding down the left-hand mouse key, and that is now highlighted, and I'm going to centralize it by coming up here. So now it's just like any other Windows piece of software. If you're used to using Word, you'll easily recognize how the fonts are. Here we are going to centralize that text. So now instantly it's jumped right into the middle of the page. Now we're going to change the font. At the moment it's in Times New Roman, and we're going to change it to Arial. So we come down, there is Arial. Now let's make it bigger. So by using this, now we can see very much bigger Jaguar on the screen. Let me highlight it again. Let's make it bold. There we are. So now we have got the word Jaguar in very bold type, very bold font. Now, if we want to change the colour of this, let's highlight the whole lot again, and let's make it red. So we choose the colour and go OK. And there it is. There is Jaguar in red on the page. Now, if we wanted to know what that actually looked like from a person viewing it from on the internet, this is the beauty of this editor. If we come up to the top, can you see the symbol right next to the print box where it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th on the left, which is the preview in a browser. And if I click this, that now is exactly how someone is going to look at it on the internet. So if you look right at the top on that blue scroll bar, it says the one I love. That's the name that we have given to the page. I realise you can't really clearly see that, but when you're doing this on your own PC, you'll see the title is up there, and this is the page that they would see. Now, we've got to come out of that page. In order to carry on editing and making, we can't do it while we are in the Explorer. So we just kill that page for a moment. Now I'm back into Front Page Editor. Now there are a couple of things that you need to know straight away. I've changed this to Arial. Now you might find a very, very attractive font to use. Let's say this one here, Balloon Light, or Book Antica, or Brush Script. Okay, and you can come across some beautiful fonts that you may have that look really, really attractive to be used there on the internet. But the first problem that you're going to have, if the person who is looking at your website hasn't got those fonts on their PC, they will be a substituted font in place of yours. So you've got no guarantee that beautiful design that you have spent hours putting together isn't going to be appreciated and seen in the way that you have designed it, unless the person is looking at their PC, their monitor, and that they have got the same font, the same typeface on their PC. Now, every PC in the world is almost certain to have Times New Roman, and almost certain to have Arial, and almost certain to have Courier. Those are the three most common typefaces, common fonts that are used right across the whole of the world. So I would strongly suggest to you that you stick to either Times New Roman or Arial in your web designs, and then you've got the best possibility of everybody who's going to view your web pages of seeing them and appreciating them exactly as you have written them and how they appear on your own monitor. Okay, so let's press on. That's the first little thing for you just to be aware of. Let's make that stand out a little bit more. We'll highlight it, go italic, and now let's just put it slightly, a little bit better. Okay, let's save what we've done. So if we come to File, Save As, there is the page title, the one I love. There is the index. We just go As File. There it is, Index, Save. It already exists. Do we want to replace it? And the answer is yes, please. Right, and I would strongly recommend that you save your work on a regular basis. Okay, let's press on. Now, a bit boring just having a white background. So now we need to change the colour of the background. So how do we do that? right click of the mouse. So your mouse can be anywhere on the screen, one right click of the mouse, and we go to Page Properties. Second from the bottom, Page Properties. Now you can see there is the title of the page, The One I Love. What we now need to do is come up to the background. And by selecting the background, we can change the colour of the background. So here you can see it's set as white. Now, if we wanted it to be a green background, select green and go OK, and there you are. There's your green background. Don't particularly like that, so let's change it again. If we wanted to have a yellow background, and there's your yellow. Alright, getting the idea behind it. So let's make the actual colour of the black background, let's go to black for the time being. So now we've got red on black, that really does stand out. Let's change the colour of that font so it's going to stand out even more, and we'll go to yellow. Okay. What about a more interesting background then? Well, we've only just done it. You should be able to remember this very easily, very quickly. Right click of the mouse, Page Properties, Background. Now instead of just having a colour, let's put a background image in. So if we now come up here to go Background Image and Browse, if you are fortunate enough to have some nice clip art on your PC, you can use it. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got backgrounds. Just taking a moment to read it. Okay, let's have a look at this one here, the fine speckled GIF. Now, this is the first part that might be a little bit complicated for you. We've just chosen that. Let me click, and you can see on the screen now you've got lots and lots of speckles on there. Now the problem is, we have got to get that file of that speckle into our folder example on the desktop, because everything that we're going to be creating has got to be sent up to the website. So we need a record of everything that we are using in our web design, and the background is one of the files that we're going to need. So we have got to be able to change that. So let's have a look. We go Page Properties, Background, there it is. That was the that's the one we've chosen. So what I'm now going to try and do is we're going to load it again. There's the fine speckled. The speckled background is on the screen, and a right click of the mouse. Right, you can see here in the background, there it is. That's the background. Now we go File, Save As. The page title is still the same, The One I Love. It's in the index HTML file, and we go As File. So we're saving as file. It's index, which is the one we're saving to. Windows example index already exists. Do you want to replace it? We say yes. Now here is the image. It's saying save this image to a file, question mark. In other words, do you want to save the image, which is the background, the speckled, to a file? Yes, we do. So we say yes. And now that should be in the folder on the desktop. Let's have a look. I'll minimize the screen. There is the example folder that we're using. Now there is the image fine speckled. There is our index page, the HTML page, and that's our first graphic that's gone in, which is the background. Okay, so let me bring the page back up. Let's make that stand out just a little bit more so you can see it clearly. Right, so we now have Jaguar, and we have got the nice little speckled background to make it look a little bit more interesting. Now I am very aware that on the screen that you are looking at, it doesn't look centralized and so on, and this is one of the things that's frustrating from my point of view, to try and make it look as realistic as I can. On my monitor it is spot on. It's all because it's going through video onto another monitor, being recorded in VHS and going out. It's not looking perfectly central, but believe me, when you do it for real on yours, it will be absolutely spot on. Okay, so we've got everything filed on there. We've learned how to do the changing of the font and how to change the color. Let's now move on and do something else. Underneath Jaguar, let's do a carriage return, so we're going to now start on the next line. We're going to type my favourite car. Okay, Now let's change the font of that. We'll take it off italics. We will make it Times New Roman, so it makes it just a little bit different to the Arial that we've got on there now. It's still bold, all right, and just to make it look a little bit more different, we're going to change the colour. So now that is a sort of maroony colour. Goodness knows what it looks like on your screen, but believe me, it's a sort of maroony colour. So let's highlight the whole of that text, and we go to Insert, and you'll see what I'm going to do in a moment. I'm coming right the way down this menu to Marquee. That is what I've just written, my favourite car, which is highlighted in blue. Okay. Where it's got the size of the box on here, specify the width, I'm changing that to 50% instead of 100. Now watch what happens. That has now got a little highlight all around it, right? It's got a box all the way around that. I want to come back into that for a moment. So within that box of the My Favourite Car, I'm doing a right click of the mouse and coming back to Marquee Properties, and where it says Behaviour and it says Scroll at the top, can you see there? I'm going to put Alternate, and we go OK. Now let's see what this does as it's being looked at from a browser, from someone on the internet. So I come up to the Browser button. Now watch what happens. We now have My Favourite Car moving backwards and forwards, and it will carry on doing it like that all the time. So that's exactly what somebody would see looking in on the internet, providing they are using Internet Explorer 4 or 5. Now this is another little challenge that we have. If someone is using Netscape Navigator, it doesn't recognize the marquee, and there's no guarantee how those words, My Favourite Car, are actually going to turn out. It will probably just be static, absolutely stationary. So now you need to be aware of the fact that if you want someone to see your design exactly as you have designed it, Netscape Navigator doesn't recognize you as these marquees. Whereas Internet Explorer, no problem at all. So therefore, is it going to be a wise decision to use something like this on a commercial website? Well, the choice is yours. Now we've got to come out of this, so at the top right hand corner of the screen there's the little X to close the screen down, and that brings us back to the editor. Right. Let's save our work again. File, save as file, save, yes. Okay, so everything that we've done now is completely saved. Now what we're going to do is let's have another carriage return. So we're now coming on to our third line, and we're going to make a table. And within this table, in a few moments, we're going to put some photographs. All right? So let's come right up to the top here where it says Table, and Insert Table. So how many rows and columns in the table do we want? Well, let's have one row. So I've just put the one in there with 2 columns. Okay? And there's a border size. We'll have a border size of 2. So let's press OK. Now you can see right over on the left-hand side is a table. One row, and it's got 2 columns in it. Now that's no good to us being stuck over there on the left. So with the cursor inside the table, right click of the mouse, and we come down to Table Properties. Having selected Table Properties, at the top here it's highlighted the alignment, the layout alignment is to the left. We change that to center. Okay? We've changed that to center. So now we go OK, and you can see it's now right in the middle, totally centralized. Let's also change the background color within that table to a different color. So again, it's now flashing in there with the cursor flashing in the table. Right click of the mouse and we come to Table Properties, and here we have background color. So if there is a color that you like the look of, perhaps it's yellow, and we select yellow, and there it is. So now anything we put into that table will be yellow. Now there is something now that we need to discuss, and that is the colour that we are using in our designs. So I'll explain this through the table. With that cursor flashing in the table box, I'm coming back to the table properties. We're going to make that table a little bit wider so we can see it. We'll bring it to 60% of the screen. See? I've just brought that up now to 60%, so now you can see very clearly it is a table. I'm coming back into the table properties. Now you see how I've chosen the background colour as being yellow. Let me come down to the custom box at the bottom. Right, so the colour I've chosen, if you follow that cursor, I've come to custom. And now on the right hand side here, it says add to custom colours. Alright, this is the palette where we've got all these different colours up here. Now the problem that we will have, let's imagine that this colour here, if you can see the cursor, it's a sort of reddy purpley colour. Let me click on that. There it is, that's the colour of it. Now I want to bring you to the right hand side here where it's giving you a breakdown of how much red, how much green and how much blue is making this purpley pinky reddy colour over here. It's got 255 portions of red, no green and 128 of blue. Now if we had selected that colour for anything on our website, it would not be seen in that colour by people viewing it on the internet. Let me try to explain what on earth I'm talking about. We've got no idea what computer a person is using to view our website. They might only have 16 colours on their PC. They might only have 26 colours. Now on modern computers today, you would have 256 colours as a minimum, really. Most people have got 16 million or 32 million, and if you were to choose this colour that we've got on the screen now, and a person has only got 256 colours on their monitor, and I would suggest that the majority of people in this country don't realise that they can have higher setting colours on their PCs, and they're only set to 256, that colour might turn out as a muddy brown. It certainly wouldn't be the colour that you have designed it to be. So here is our first rule with regard to colour. Each area, when I'm talking about area, each individual colour of the red, the green and the blue has to be in a multiple of 51. So if we change that red to be 51, and if we put 102, which is twice 51 for the green, and 51 in for the blue, you can see that's made up a green colour. But it doesn't matter what computer this is going to be viewed on in the world, that will be seen in blue. So let's have a quick look at it in that greeny colour. So you can see that colour that's on there now. That is guaranteed to be seen in that colour, providing the person's got a colour monitor, obviously, whether they've only got 16 colours, 256 colours, 32 million colours, that is the colour, because we have been careful in the selection of the pigments that are making up that particular colour. Let me come back to it. Right click of the mouse, table properties, and we chose a custom colour. Right, now let's go back to the colour that we wanted originally, which was this one. You can see it's got 255 portions of red, if you like. That is 5 times 51, so that red is superb. 0 green, so there's no problem there, but 128 of blue is not divisible by 51. So that colour will not come out as it's being seen here. So we can either make it 102, which is twice 51, and you can see that is the colour that's guaranteed to be seen, or we could go to 153, and that has slightly lightened it a little bit. So I prefer it, I think, with 102. So we'll keep it to 102. There's the colour. We chose that. Go OK. Now that is guaranteed, that table, to be seen in that colour. Now let's come back and look at what we did earlier. This word Jaguar. Is that colour red going to be seen in that colour by everybody in the world? Let's highlight it. Go to the colour palette at the top. Go to define custom colours. Alright. Now you'll see that the red that we've used is 255. No green, no blue, so that is 5 times 51, guaranteed 100% to be seen in that colour red all over the world. What about this one then that we've got here? Background colour, default. What colour was it that we've actually used on that? Let's just have a quick look for a moment. That was the colour there. So again, this is not going to be seen in the colour that we've put on the screen, because it's got 128 portions of red and 64 of blue. They are not divisible by 51. So if we change the red to 102, that's twice 51, and reduce the blue to 51, now that's quite a dark colour. So you think, well, I'd like it a bit lighter than that. Let's put a bit more red in it then, bring it up to 153. And that is much closer to the colour we wanted. So say, okay, let's have that. Now let's have a look at what it looks like. That's changed the background, not the font. What a stupid thing to do. It's changed the background of it, not the actual font itself. Let's have a quick look what that looks like. You see, you can't even see it. Now that's me being careless, trying to concentrate on the video and not on the actual work that we're doing. So let's open that up again. Yeah, background colour, very clearly seen as being the background colour. Alright, so now with the background colour, I've brought in the text colour. Is that going to be seen in the same way? Let's have a quick look. Custom colours, there is the green, 128, not divisible at all by 51, so we could bring that to 102, 255 in green, that's fine. Now that's a very bright garish colour, so if we wanted to bring it a little bit darker, perhaps if we brought that to 153 of green, and that's now brought you a darker colour. Put a bit of blue in it, 51, right, a bit darker still. Now again, I don't think that looks very nice against the background colour of the marquee, so just click on the marquee, let's change that background colour, make it aqua if you like, and see how that stands out. Right, let's see what it looks like on the internet, and there it is. So you've now got your My Favourite Car in a green that's guaranteed to be seen as the correct colour wherever it's viewed. The table is a correct colour, and the Jaguar is in a correct colour. So we'll close that down, we're back to the editor. So I hope that hasn't been too complicated for you. What I'm trying to suggest to you is that all the colours have got to be in multiples of 51. So it's 51, 102, 153, 204, 255, and that's the highest value you can get in the red, the green, or the blue. Alright, always have to be multiples of 51. Right, so let's come back to this table. What we're now going to do is to insert a photograph in the left-hand side of that table. So somewhere on your hard drive, or in a floppy drive, or on a CD-ROM, you will have a photograph. Or it could be a graphic. In this instance, it's a photo. So we put the mouse, you can see, here's my little pointer, I'm going to bring the mouse into the left-hand part of the table here. Now we want to insert a photograph. So the first thing to do is to select image. So we want to insert an image. Alright, I'll do that again. So with the cursor flashing inside that table, we come up to insert image. Now it's looking where we last looked on the images, which was the backgrounds to choose. We don't want that. It's in another location. Where is it? In my PC, I've put them onto a floppy disk on the floppy. So I'm going to browse for it. So now see, it's gone straight to our folder. We don't want that. We want the floppy drive. So in a moment, it will read the floppy. Okay, here we go. So we've now got 4 folders on the floppy. Let's have a look at the example folder. So we've got pick 1. So that's our first picture. Now we want to bring this picture and put it into the folder that's on the desktop. So I highlight pick 1 and I go copy. I then come to the desktop, right, so there's the desktop and there is the folder on the desktop down here called example. That is the only graphic we've got in there called fine speckled. but you can just about make out on your screen it says pick one here. That's the one we've just chosen. So I right click on the mouse and go paste, and in a moment you will see the photograph appear on here. So there it is now, pick one. I know it's difficult for you to read that, but believe me, that says pick one. So I highlight that and go open, and there it is. There is the photograph that is now on the desktop in our folder called example. Okay? Now we're going to go to the file, save as, and we're just going to save exactly what we've done so that we don't lose anything if we're going to do anything a little bit silly. Right, let's have a look at what that looks like live. So we go into the browser, there it is, Jaguar, my favourite car, and there is the photo. Okay, so let's close that down again, we're back to the editor. So it's now in a red table, red outline. You might not like to keep that colour, but entirely down to you. Right, let's go to the right hand side of the table, so into the other cell. So that table is made up of two cells. That's our first cell on the left, and the second one is here on the right. So we put the cursor, the mouse, into the right hand cell of this table, and now what we're going to do is change the horizontal alignment to center and change the background color to blue. So we go to Cell Properties, Horizontal Alignment to Center, okay, and we're going to change the background color to blue. Now watch what happens. Now we've got one blue cell and this reddy colored cell. All right. So in the right hand cell, let's come into that cell. Into that right hand cell, we're going to type the words my favorite car, the Jaguar Sovereign. Okay, and you can see how that cell has got wider as we've typed it in. Now let's make that stand out because you can hardly read that. So we'll highlight those words, put the red in. Now is that a good red? Let's check. We define the custom colors. 255, that's 5 times 51, 0 green, 0 blue, so that is guaranteed 100% to be there, to be seen in that color. Now it's not very bold, so we'll embolden it. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We'll change the font to Arial. Alright, can you see that? It's not standing out very well against the blue. Let's then change the colour again, and we'll put some yellow in. Is that a good yellow? 255, that's 5 times 51. Green is 255, 5 times 51. No blue, so that's fine. My favourite car, the Jaguar Sovereign. And if we wanted to make that a little bit bigger, there you go. Okay, so let's press on. Let's now click on the photo itself that's here. Alright, so it's a right click of the mouse on the photograph, and we're going to come down to the very bottom in the box here that says Image Properties. Now in the text box we're going to type the word I should say, what a great car. Alright, so there's a text box, and all we've done is typed in the words what a great car, and we click OK. Now what is the point of doing that? Well, if somebody is looking at this page on the web, let's put it on the browser so you can see. So there it is. That's how they're going to be seeing this page now on the web. Watch what happens when I bring the cursor anywhere over that photo. What a great car. Let's bring it to the bottom. What a great car. Let's bring it to the middle. What a great car. So now you can have a hidden message underneath a graphic or a photograph, so whenever somebody brings the cursor and the cursor remains stationary, it will bring up that hidden message, whatever you wanted it to be. So if you were going to be selling something on the internet, let's say it was Jaguar cars, you could have underneath here a message saying phone me now and buy one. Okay, So let's press on. I hope you're enjoying this. So that's background text that we have added to the car. Now we are still in the browser viewer, so I'm going to close that down and we are back to the editor. Right, now we're still within the table here. Okay, so in the left hand part of the table, which is known as the cell, in the left hand cell we've got the picture. In the right hand cell we've got the words "my favourite car, the Jaguar Sovereign." Now perhaps it's a good idea for us to save the work again, and that's what we're going to do. So we save and replace it, yes. The colour of the actual borders themselves. So with the cursor inside the first cell over the car, right click of the mouse and we come down to table properties. So you've got your background colour, which we've already used. Let's now come up to the actual border itself. So you can see on here the size of the border we've chosen. Let's make that a little bit bigger so you can see the difference it makes. Now it's made the border slightly larger. Come back into the table properties again, and now let's change the colour of the border. So let's change it to blue. Okay, so the outer border is blue and there is a very, very thin red border within that. So let's come back onto the table properties again. Let's make the light border blue as well, and we go OK. Now let's make a different colour border inside the right hand cell. So now we come to cell properties instead of table properties. We change that colour to aqua. I mean, sorry, that's the background we've changed to aqua. We're changing the background of the cell to aqua, and the actual border colour we'll put to purple. Now the horrible colours, but at least you'll see the difference. Okay, so that really has made it dark and stand out. So now if we were to change the letters of my favourite car and make that red, see, standing out a little bit. Okay, what does it look like in the browser? There it is. That's what anyone who is going to look through at it on the internet, that's what they're going to see. So let's come down and close the browser again, and we're back to the editing facility. Now we're going to create a brand new page. Easiest way to do this is come up to File, Save As. You can see our page title is the one I love, the index HTML page, and we go As File. There is the index page there. Now what we do is we change the name of the page. So we're going to put in a brand new page, and we're going to call this one interior.htm. Right, so we've made a whole new page here, interior HTML, and we go Save. Now let's have a look at that in the actual folder. So now on our desktop we've got index.htm and interior.htm. Now because all I've done is duplicated what was in the index, the interior is identical. Let me show you. Open up here, and this is the interior page, the new one, which is a copy of the original because we've just saved it in a different name, that same information. Now we highlight everything that's on that page and remove it. Okay, so this blank page with just a speckled background, so we've got the same background as the index page, we'll now save it again, this time as interior, and we replace it. So now the interior page has got nothing on it except the background. Okay, now we want to open up the original index page. Here we are. There is the original index page. Down here we've typed the words inside the car. Let me remove them so we'd see exactly how it's being done. We just type inside the car. Now it's very small, you can hardly see it, so we highlight it, make it bolder. Let's change the font. We'll change that font up to Arial. We'll change the colour to blue. Let's make certain it's 255 portions of blue. That's all multiples of 51, so that's okay. So we have the words inside the car. Now what we are going to do is link this index page, our home page, to the new page, which is called interior. To do that, we'll highlight the words inside the car. Come up to the insert at the top of the screen. And then with that menu, choose the very bottom one which says hyperlink. To make certain that your links open cleanly and smoothly, open up the type of link and choose the very top one that says Other. Now where it has URL, we now type in the word of our new page, which is interior.htm. So that's our new page, interior.htm, and we go OK. Now let's save that work again. So we go Save. We're saving it on the index, that's the one we just made, and go Save. Now let's see what happens. You can see that those words are now underlined, and if you look in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, follow the cursor, see where the cursor is now. As I bring the mouse back over inside the car, where the cursor was in that bottom left hand side, it shows you the link, and that actually reads Interior HTM down at the bottom. Let's put the browser back on. This is what it's going to look like for somebody who is looking at it on the internet. They come over the words inside the car. See what's happening to the cursor? Here it's just the arrow. Soon as it goes over that hyperlink, it changes into a hand with a pointing finger. I'm now going to left click the mouse. Watch what happens. Straight in to an empty page. That is our new page called Interior. Alright, we can then come up to the top of the screen and go back, use the back arrow, and it brings us back into that page. So let's close the browser down. Now what we want to do is put some information onto that second page. So we go File, Open, Browse into our folder, Example, and we now choose Interior. So now we put something onto the screen of this page, and we'll call it Car Interior. Again, that's very small, so we highlight it. Let's make it bigger. That's the largest you can make it. We'll change the font to Arial. We'll change the colour to that maroony colour. We'll make it 153 parts red to 51 parts blue. So that is completely correct as it would be seen on the internet by anybody who's going to look. We'll make it bold so it really stands out. Okay, let's save that work. So we are wanting to save the interior. We can change that page title, by the way, because we don't want that to be called The One I Love as well. So we could put Car Interior on there if we wished, and we're saving it as the interior, so we save yes. Right, let's now come back to the index page. So we browse, open up the index. Let's put it into the browser. That's what the people are going to see looking on the internet. Now we press the hyperlink for inside the car, and it brings us straight on to our second page. Do you see the speed that that was transferring? Straight across. Opens up a very clean, smooth link. Right, let's come out of the browser again, so we're back in the editor, and we're coming back to the interior page. There we are. Okay, let's start doing something with this. We're going to put another table in very, very quickly. We've already done this, so I'm not going to go through the whole procedure. Just follow me. I'll talk about it as I'm doing it. The first time we did it from the table here and put Insert Table. This time, you've got another little icon on the screen here. If I choose that, you could say, right, we'll have two cells, 4 cells, a 2x2 table. There it is on the left-hand side. We want that centralized. Right-click of the mouse, Table Properties, Alignment to be center. Okay, we'll make it a big border so you can really see it. We want that to be 50%, let's say 60% of the page. We want the background color to be silver. We'll have the color of the border as being red. Okay, can you see how that's worked out? So you've got your red border, a big border, because that's what we chose, with a silver background in there. Now we'll put another photograph into that first cell. Alright, so I'm going to put a photograph into that cell. So the cursor is flashing in there. We go Insert, Image. We browse for it. The images are on the floppy disk drive. So we now put Pic 2 in. We copy Picture 2. We take it back to the folder on the desktop and we paste. There it is, Pic 2. Now we can go Open, and that's a picture of the steering wheel inside the car. So then I'm now coming over to the right hand cell and we can type a great looking interior. Now again, that's not very large, so let's highlight it. We'll make it a wee bit bigger. We'll bolden it. We'll make it red, and that stands out a little bit. Let's centralize that text, and there it is, centralized. Let's bring another picture in into the bottom one here. So again, insert, image. We've got to search for that image. It's in the floppy disk drive. It was in this folder, and we go pick 3. Now, I have put that straight in. Right? I didn't copy it and save it to the folder, so that is not on the folder on our desktop. So now if I try to put all of this onto the website that we'll be doing shortly, that picture won't go because it's not in my folder. So let's have a quick look. It's showing it as in the A drive. So we need to go to that A drive. It's pick 3, and we copy. We take it to the folder on the desktop and paste. There it is. Now we can open it. Now that is from the actual desktop folder that we've just made. And then we can type here, really fabulous. Let's highlight that. Make it a bit bigger. And bolden it into italics, bit of red, and we want it centralized as well. There we are. What does that look like? Okay. Now I'm going to make that photograph at the bottom just a little bit smaller so it's in alignment with the other photograph. I did that by clicking left click on and using the cursor, holding it down, we can just change the size of that photograph in proportion with the top. Now what we can do is go to those image properties, appearance, and we want the alignment to be as much in the center as we possibly can. So absolute middle, let's see what difference that makes. Go to cell properties, because we're in the left hand cell, and we go center. That has moved it to the middle. We go left hand property to the left hand cell at the top, and again we centralize it, and we go OK. So that has now placed the photographs right in the middle. Let's look on the browser. There they are in the middle. Coming out of the browser, let me just show you one more thing. Table properties, and we're going to get rid of the borders completely. Now watch what happens now. So we can bring the border size down to 0. You can see on there where the actual borders are, but now let's put it into the browser. You've got no border whatsoever. Okay, it's cut out the borders, and you've still got your silver background. Let me come back out of the browser, and we come into the table properties, and we'll get rid of the silver background, and we'll use the background image. Alright, so the background image is in our folder on the desktop. It's called Fine Speckled, and we go OK. Now watch what happens when we put it in the browser. You've got your 2 photographs, nice and cleanly cut, and there is the wording along the side. Now if I come out of that again, let me show you something else. Let's make a space, a bigger space between the 2 photographs and the wordings here. So I'll come back to table properties, cell padding. Now to really make it big so you can see the difference, I've put that to 16. Watch what happens. Put it into the browser. Now you've got much bigger spaces in between. Getting the idea? Okay. Let's now make an email address. Before we do that, save our work. So we go File, Save As, it's the car interior, as File, Save. So that page is now saved. So we want someone to email us. So we could do it a number of ways. let's do the most obvious first of all. We could put something like email me at, and you could put in your email address. So that is me. Email me at dwable@globalnet.co.uk. Let's highlight that and we bring that to the center. Right, now that's quite small to read, so let's just make it a little bit larger, and we'll embolden it and we'll make it blue. Let's make sure that's only 160 portions of blue, so if we change that to 153, that is now acceptable and it will be seen by everybody in that color. Email me at dwable@globalnet.co.uk. Now, how can we make that as a hyperlink? Highlight the whole lot if you wish, insert, hyperlink, and instead of using other that we did a moment ago, we select the word mail to, and you type in the email address. So it's mail to dwable@globalnet.co.uk in this example, and we go OK. So now it is underlined. Let me put it into the browser and watch what happens. So on this particular page, if somebody comes down here to that hyperlink, watch what happens when they press this. Immediately it opens up Outlook Express, and there it is, already addressed to C.A.T.S. Dave Abel, because that's my email address. You would just type in a subject, type in your message, press send, and it goes. So it will self-address the email. Nice little touch. If you wanted to do something with a photograph, you could have that as a hyperlink either to another page or as an email. Let's use that top photograph as a hyperlink to return us to the index page. How we do that? Very simple and straightforward. You've got to come out of the browser. So there is our top photograph, and we're going to use that as a hyperlink to go back to the first page, the index, the home page. So we go insert, hyperlink. We don't use HTTP, we go other, and we put in index.htm, because that's the name of our first page, the home page. We go OK. Now, as well as doing that, what we could do with a right click of the mouse, we could go to image properties, and we could type in email me now by pressing email me now by selecting, my spelling is atrocious, there you go, email me now by selecting here, and I go OK. Now watch what happens. I come back to the browser, that top picture, there it is, email me now by selecting here, and once I select anywhere in there, anywhere in that graphic at all, that photograph, instantly it's brought us back to the opening page. See how quick that link was? Inside the car, back to the home page. Inside the car, back to the home. Email me now. Now, if we wanted to use that as an email, because I've done that as a hyperlink, okay, in order to make that an email, all you would do is close that down, and we change that property of the hyperlink, okay? So if we go insert hyperlink, you can see on here it's sending it to the index page. All we do is change it to mail to, and we put in the address, dwable@globalnet.co.uk. It would help if I could spell my name. So it's mail to dwable@globalnet.uk. Let's go back to the browser. So now, instead of it linking through to the first page, it should open up the email address. There it is. Okay, happy with that? So you can now use your photographs as email hyperlinks, as hyperlinks to other pages, whichever you're wanting it to do. Right, let's press on. If you're wanting to add sound to the picture, let's go back to the first page. So I'll come out of there and we open up the index. And we want to add some sound. So we place the cursor before that opening word Jaguar, before that very first letter. And we go to Insert and come down to Background Sound. Now, if you have got some sound on your hard drive or somewhere. I should have some on the floppy. Let's have a quick look for some. And there it is. There's a bit of sound. Now that went so quickly you didn't even see it. But that has now got sound on the picture. Now let me show you something that you haven't seen yet. All of this that we have been doing so far has been done in HTML. This has not been designed using a software program. Alright? So if I come to this view on the top scroll bar, third one along, view, and go HTML, there it all is. That is everything that we have designed, because that's the beauty of the editor. It automatically puts it into HTML language for us, which is superb. Now, follow my little cursor on the top here. There's the page titled The One I Love for our index page. Right beneath it, BG sound. That's the background sound, acting up MIDI file. And that's on a permanent loop, so that music is going to be played all the time somebody is looking at the home page. Okay, I'm going to come out of that now. Let me show you how we did the sound again. Insert, background sound. You choose the sound you want. In this instance it's acting up, and you just go OK. That's it. Alright, so that's how you're putting your sound onto it. We've already prepared the second page. Let's go back to that for a moment and we'll open that up again, have another quick look at the interior. Now that is on the floppy disk drive. So it's exactly the same we've done, but now in a completely different layout with a different background. Alright, so I'm wanting to come into the file that we've got on the desktop, and that is the one that we've just created. So with the floppy disk that you have got with this package, there are 4 fully working websites, and again you've got these photographs and so on, and sound to play with, so just start practicing and getting used to them. Now, how do we get all of these to work actually live on the internet? Now I'm going to come out of the front page editor that we've been using here, which I hope you've now seen how easy it is to get on with. Just play with it. You can't do any damage. Play with it and get used to putting in graphics and so on. So I'm going to close that down. Now you can see my desktop on here. Alright, there's the folder that we had, and that's everything that's in the folder. Now it's that folder that we want to get up onto the internet. Now the folder that we use in our business, our own website is called Rapid Results. Let me bring it over. That is our folder. So every day I am changing the data in this folder that's called Rapid Results. Let me just show you how many files there are. Look at that lot. We've got all of these. There's something like 22 HTML pages with lots and lots of different graphics and so on there. So let me just show you. Our web page was designed in exactly the same way as we've been doing here. So now I'm going to open that. So we go File, Open. We want Rapid Results, and we want the index page. Now there is our index page, the home page as we know it. Let's look at it in the browser. So we go into Browse. Now it's trying to dial out the modem because that's what it's trying to do. But there is our index page, and we've put in tiny little square graphics. So if you want to look at us live on the internet, you'll see them, how they work. And each of those graphic buttons, we've put the hyperlink on. So if you wanted to know about, for example, our Network Plus course, you just hit that button, and there she is. Tells you all about what we're doing on Network Plus. Okay? And notice the hyperlinks that we've got on here. There's a little graphic. Click here to order now. Click it, and it brings it straight into a booking form that they can print out and then send off a check in the post to us. Very convenient. So let's come back. If we now just bring that back to the main network, you can just keep bringing them back all the time. If you wanted to see our A+ course, there's the A+. Now you see, again, it's worthy of noting here, the Rapid Results at the top, that has been made in CorelDRAW, saved as a graphic, and brought in as a graphic. All of these are graphics. Okay, that photograph here, that's all one great big graphic. The wallpaper on the side, that is just a normal graphic. And now all of these are hyperlinks. So if you wanted to know about the dates that we're running the A+ course, click on that. Instantly, there she is with the dates. Let's come back. If you want to know about what happens when you take the exam, taking the A+ exams, and it gives you everything about the exams. How to book, terms and conditions. You want the booking form. So you see, all done through the hyperlink. Okay, so I hope that's been of help to you. Right, so let's now make a change. And we'll do this for live so you can actually see it working. Now we have got a course on tomorrow. So after tomorrow we are not going to be requiring this information on the screen. So here are all of our HTML pages in that box. PC dates. So these are the course dates, right? So Wednesday, August the 25th is tomorrow. I'm going to delete that. And now I'm saving that page. So that is the new page that's saved. Now I want to get this new page onto the internet live. Now this is where you need another little program. The one that I recommend is called C.A.T.S FTP. And this is it. So we go FTP, Site Manager, and these are different websites I've got. I wanted to go on to Rapid Results. So we go Connect. Now what's happening, the modem is dialing out to the service provider. So this takes a little moment for it to make the connection to get through. You can probably hear it making that racket in the background. This is a standard 56K internal modem in the computer, in case you were wondering, because it's the modem speed that is paramount for uploading and downloading. If you've got one of the older 28 speed modems, it's obviously going to take you longer. Right, so we are now onto the internet itself, and this is now coming into my website. So on this right hand screen where the mouse is moving, that is live on the web right now, and those are all the pages, all the graphics that are on there. On the left hand screen over here is everything that is in my folder that's on the desktop. So I have changed PC dates, and that's what I've just highlighted here. I now come up to the arrow key, which means upload. You probably can't see that, but there is an arrow pointing upwards, and that's to upload that file. I press that, and you can see that information changing in this top screen. That has now uploaded all of that information. So I can now disconnect this. We are actually live on the internet now. So this is now going to open straight to the website, right? So this isn't off my desktop. This is live on the net. Now if I choose course dates, there you go. The Wednesday is no longer on there. It's just done what we've saved a moment ago. All right? And it's as simple as that to upload your information. So while I'm here, I'm going to be a bit cheeky and see if there's anyone who sent me emails. And yes, there are. We've got one new one in, which I can read later. Okay, so I'll just close those pages down. And let's bring you back into the front page editor for the final time. And we're going to open that example folder back to the index. And there it is. And we will leave that on for the moment. Okay, so I hope you can appreciate how easy and straightforward it is. Don't get caught up thinking about using a software program, because you'll find that the links are going to let you down. And if you're going to start to design professional sites and charging companies for designing those sites, you've got to have links that are opening up quickly and easily and doing everything that you're wanting it to do. Now, the final point to make is, how do you let everybody know that you are on the internet? We have what's things known as the search engines like Yahoo, Alta Vista, InfoSeek and so on. There is a wonderful little submission engine called Submission 2000. They're based in Australia. If you put that into a search engine to look for them, Submission 2000, the program costs about £50, and it will upload all the information of your website to round about 300 to 400 search engines worldwide. Okay? Now, if you don't want to do that straight away, look at another site on the internet. I'll type it on the screen so you can see it. The site is called Jumbo. Jumbo.com. Okay? So if you go and type in on any search engine or straight into an address, www.jumbo.com, that will bring you in to loads and loads of software that is free. Some of it is shareware, some of it is on special trial basis or whatever. But in Jumbo.com, if you go to the internet part of that site, you will be able to look at all different types of software available to notify search engines of your presence on the web. Right, well, I really do hope that you found this useful. It's a good starting place to be. I don't use anything more professional than this in designing our web pages for our business. Our own web page, Rapid Results, website I should say rather than page, this is working every single day of the week for us. And this website is having approximately 150 people view it every day. How do I know that? Bottom left-hand corner, we put a counter. And again, every time somebody looks at the website, that increases. So this has had 9,208 hits since we first started it. How do you get hold of those web counters? Again, go to jumbo.com and they are free of charge. You can download one onto your website absolutely free. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that you really do enjoy designing your first web page. When you've got it up and going, however good or however mediocre it may be, email me please so that I can have a look at it and I will comment on it. I won't be horrible, I won't destroy your efforts, I promise you that, but I'll be only too pleased to make constructive comments to help you to make a really good looking site that's going to look the business for you, and if you are going to be using it commercially, that it's going to be attractive to the eye. Okay, so please don't forget, let me know by email and I'll be only too happy to email you back. Right, all the best. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.